Hey guys, so in today's video, I am going to give you guys a quick tour of my MacBook Pro. Specifically, I want to show you what's wrong with it, because there are quite a few different things that are wrong with this laptop. So just for some context, this is a 15-inch 2016 MacBook Pro. This was the first generation with the maligned butterfly switch keyboard, as well as a touch bar and Apple's new design for that year. I actually bought this in late 2017, even though this is a late 2016 model. I bought it brand new from B&H Photo as a special Black Friday deal, and this actually replaced my 2012 non-Retina 13-inch MacBook Pro. So this was my first 15-inch MacBook Pro and my first Retina MacBook Pro. But yeah, anyway, I've been putting this thing through its paces for a bit over 3 years now, and overall, I've really liked it. That being said, again, there are definitely some issues that have cropped up over the past few years that I wanted to point out and show you guys. But yeah, anyway, let me get started. So the first thing is kind of a minor thing. I'm pointing this out first because it's not really something that happens too often, maybe once a day, and it's not really something that's visible from the outside. So sometimes when this computer heats up, which it actually heats up quite a bit, especially when you're kind of putting it through its paces, doing something computationally intensive, like maybe exporting a video file, or just something that takes up a lot of CPU horsepower, this entire section here becomes really hot. And the underside of the laptop also becomes really hot. Temperatures go over 90 degrees sometimes, on the inside at least, which is not ideal, especially when it comes to longevity. And, it doesn't bother me too much, but I have a feeling that it might affect things maybe a couple of years down the line. Also, when it does do this thing, when it like heats up, I sometimes hear like a weird almost click from the inside of the laptop, like something's almost popping out of place. I wonder if it's something related to maybe glue coming off on the inside, maybe just a part expanding with the heat is giving off this clicking sound, but either way, it is definitely a little concerning, but it's been happening for like a year now with no other real effects. So, case is fine, like nothing seems to be, popping out of place on the outside. So, fingers crossed, I'm hoping that everything's okay on the inside. Seems to be okay so far. So apart from the heat issues and the pop, one other thing that happened to me was one of my speakers actually went out. So my left speaker just completely went out one day. I think it happened after a day or so when I was blasting music pretty loudly at max volume on this essentially. I think I was in the office doing some renovation or moving or can't remember exactly what, but I remember there was a lot of moving and cleaning. And so just to play some music in the background, I had this laptop ready and I had Spotify pulled up and I was blasting music on max. Shortly after that, I noticed one day that this left speaker is just completely blown out. It's not working at all. When I do try to use both speakers, it actually almost gives like a weird distorted sound from the left speaker. Just like definitely like something is broken or something. It's definitely, if you ever heard a speaker that's been kind of blown out, that's definitely what this one sounds like. So what I do these days is if I am playing something on speaker, I have the audio slider in the settings set to where it only plays exclusively on this speaker. So that was probably about 2 years into my use of the computer, and having the speaker fail like that was kind of concerning for sure. So next thing is the keyboard. Oh, the keyboard. So I know these butterfly switches are really hated on as far as just the reliability goes. They're supposed to be terribly unreliable. And I thought mine were okay. I thought mine were the exception. I actually love these keys. I prefer them to the second or third gen butterfly keyboards, which have these other mechanisms inside, but that do kind of hamper the clickiness of this. So I really like how clicky these keys are. I actually love the typing experience on this keyboard. The only issue though is that over the past few months, I started noticing sometimes certain keys, when I type something, it would almost like type out the letter twice. So I think these specifically happen in like, I think the L, the K, I know the T was also another one where I had the issue, but it happened on like 4 or 5 different keys where I would, type out a letter once and it would just, on the actual computer, it would type out that same letter twice. So for every key press, it would just go twice or thrice, which was really annoying. So thankfully, Apple has kind of an extended warranty in place for these keyboards because so many of them are known to fail. So when I took mine to the Apple Store, they replaced a couple of the keys, but in some cases, the issue still persisted. Now, I still have this pop up every now and then, but I mostly just ignore it now because when I went to the Apple Store, they said that yes, they could fix it kind of almost permanently, but doing so would require them to basically take my laptop and mail it all the way back to Apple, which, I don't want to be without my laptop for like 2 weeks or more while they swap out the entire keyboard assembly. I might get that done at some point, but it's just with my work schedule now and how frequently I use this thing, I don't really, see the point. So another interesting thing is the T key, for example, wasn't working properly and they swapped it out. But even then, there's still some play. I don't know if how clearly you can see this, but there's still definitely some play in the key. Like you can almost pull the key up. I think something in the internal mechanism is messed up because even though they swapped out the keycap, it's still weird. See, it doesn't happen with any of the other keys. It just happens with the T key. But that's fine. I mean, it's tolerable. It's not a complete deal breaker, and the key doesn't come out entirely. Although that's actually what happened with the first T key. Well, I mentioned the other keys were kind of almost like being sticky, but the T key just completely came off, and the keycap detached entirely. I'm not sure why it did that, but that's one thing I got fixed, and again, that's why this key is still a little weird. Another thing, and yeah, the list of problems continues, is the screen. So my screen looks fine, might be slightly dirty, but I don't know how well you can see this actually, but what I noticed about a year ago is that, I can't tell if you can see properly, but like almost look in this area, and even here right at the center of the screen where I'm circling it with my finger, a couple of sections almost have these like blue splotches on the screen. They're like very faint. You can only really notice them when the background is white, but I don't know if you can see this here. Like you can see some blue splotchiness here and here. I don't know why that is. It seems to be like a permanent issue. Based off of my Googling, it almost seems like it's some issue with the coating that Apple puts on these displays wearing out over time. Again, I'm not really happy about it. Didn't have these kinds of issues with my old MacBook Pro. It is what it is. It's tolerable, at least. I can deal with it. And it's, again, not really that visible or noticeable unless you have some kind of a white background. And lastly, but not least, is the battery issue. So like all computers, my laptop's battery has degraded over time. Right now, the battery life, I think it shows me a different, yeah, it does show me a service recommended message, and it has been doing that for a few months now, which, didn't really happen on my old computer, but on this one is happening within, probably about started happening within about 2.5 years of me buying the laptop and using it. So in terms of battery degradation though, what's weirdest about this is it's almost like the battery is starting to fail, right? So my old 2012 MacBook Pro, the battery, yes, it degraded over time, but it was a slow degradation. I could still count that the battery meter or the count of the whatever percentage it had left was accurate. Not so much on this one. What I noticed a few months ago was that the battery life would drop pretty fast. I would probably get maybe 30 minutes of battery life, 30 minutes to about an hour. The battery life would drop off fast. And then once it hit like about the 45% mark, it would just completely shut off, like it has zero battery left, which is really weird. Again, it almost feels like the battery is failing instead of just, degrading normally. So that is definitely a concern. However, given the age of this laptop and the various other issues that are going on with it, I just don't feel like it's necessary to swap out the battery. I would much rather, deal with it for at least the next few months and then get a brand new laptop instead. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much a list of whatever is wrong with my laptop. Just to sum up, keyboard issues, yes. Screen coating issues, yes. Left speaker being completely blown out and useless, yes. Battery life degrading unnaturally and almost failing over time, yes. And lastly, lots of heat sometimes and a weird unexplainable pop inside the computer at times. Overall, not the most reassuring, but again, on balance, I still love this computer. It's been with me through a lot. I've definitely put it through its paces, whether it's been doing a lot of video editing, just like throwing calculations at it, taking it abroad with me and using it in all kinds of weather conditions, from like dusty storage closets and storage units in like 100-degree heat all the way to like freezing temperatures. This thing's been through a lot. And overall, it's been great. Again, like I said, my next computer is still most likely going to be a MacBook Pro. Hope you found this video useful. I hope you found this video to be, kind of informative about the different things that could go wrong and have gone wrong with my laptop. Anyways, guys, I hope you liked it. If you like what you see, Please, leave me a like. If you have any feedback, a comment would be amazing. Have you run into any of these issues before with your MacBook? Leave me a comment. And yeah, of course, if you enjoyed what you see and you want to see more, a subscribe to this channel would be absolutely amazing. All right, guys, I will catch you tomorrow. Peace.